Okay, so we were trying to go live on LuAnn's feed. So everybody join on, hit share. I'm going to get LuAnn on. Hey, Rachel. So we're going to we'll get LuAnn over here, and we'll get her on the share button. So that gets a little confusing, I know. So as soon as she gets on, I can send her the invite. There you are, LuAnn. I'm going to send you an invite. You should see the little camera icon, the red camera icon. So go ahead and click that, and let's get you in here and broadcasting. 12-step live program, huh, Rachel? I know it gets a little confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty badass. So LuAnn, hit the share the little red icon. Yeah, so. And I think that maybe you didn't hit when you're broadcasting, the icons are white at the bottom. You get this little magic filter icon. You can flip the screen. Let me see. I'm going to invite you, LuAnn. I think I already did invite you, so. Let's see. I already invited you. There you go. I'll invite you again. You've been invited. So, yeah. So when you're broadcasting live, and LuAnn, you got to turn the phone horizontal. All these little tricks. So if your phone is portrait, flip it sideways, and then that should give you more icons. Oh, the trickery of cell phones. So anyhow, I was joining LuAnn. I did throw a wrench in her program because everything that Joe touches turns into a shit show. No red icon. Did you turn your phone sideways? And then LuAnn's got a really important broadcast to do after me. Not that important. On my laptop, is that what? Yeah, you can't be on your laptop. You got to be on your cell phone. This is only on mobile. So bust out the smartphone, switch over to Facebook on your phone, turn it sideways, and then let's get the party started. She needs to be on phone. Yeah, yes, you are. I think she might have been. LuAnn said, "Yes, you are." That might have been a reference to the shit show that follows Joe. So. Yeah, thanks, Rachel, for all the love and the laughs. Yes, Joe, the shit show. So LuAnn's going to be joining. Hopefully, switch over the smartphone. Get live. Everybody hit share because I did just totally screw up LuAnn's live. So when she's on here, it'll help her get the viewership that she was looking for. And so sharing's caring. And this was supposed to be LuAnn's live, so we're not scheduled for our live until Tuesday. That one should be pretty interesting. We're gonna kind of like to cut the bullshit. We're gonna talk about. Hey Joe, I can't adult today either. Oh yes, my nobody likes to adult. I don't know who does a good job of that shit. Anyhow, I prefer to act childish as often as possible. Adulting sucks. I don't know who else thought that this was what being an adult was going to be like. I think we got shafted somehow. Our parents played this thing off and made it look so much different. Maybe I just had the wrong vantage point, but this whole adulting thing sucks. And then people try to make it even more adultish by by putting extra rules on us. I think it's kind of bullshit. I think I had more fun as a kid. Hey, Jeffrey. So, LuAnn, are you on your cell phone yet? I'd love to invite you in. So, I'm totally jacking up LuAnn's broadcast. So just to give you guys why is Joe live today? It's not Tuesday. To give you the heads up on this one, I was supposed to be on LuAnn's show. She's got this thing dialed in, then I, I was like, oh, let's do this on Facebook Live, and she's on her laptop, so I think she's switching over to her cell phone right now. And when she does, then she'll be able to join me live. She's got an important podcast to do in a little bit, and so we're gonna jump on and we're gonna try to get this out. Okay, LuAnn, so you're there. Let's see. So now you should be able to turn your phone sideways, and you'll see a red icon. That red icon will ask for you to join my call. I'll approve it, and then or will I? Oh, here we go. So we get LuAnn on. I'm adding her in right now. Hey, everybody, make sure to hit. I jacked up LuAnn's live feed today, so please hit share. There you are. Yes, she's here. You did it.
Holy for Jesus.
Oh, man.
Told me I had to be on my cell phone, and so now I'm like, where's the tripod? I can't hold the thing while I talk and I think.
I'm so sorry. So hi, my name's Joseph. I am a traveling shit show.
Between you and Mark, you roped me into this crap. I was all set up. I just have to say, this is my official podcast interview of Joe, and now I'm all discombobulated.
Yep. Hey, you know what? It's nothing like throwing you off of your game a little bit. Shake it up. Shake it up.
That's it, like having to roll with the punches. You're like, oh, and I'm like, where's the button? There's no button. There's no button. And then finally, I'm like, I'm on the laptop. You're like, no, you have to be on the phone. I'm like, where's that tripod? Okay, get it out.
Scramble.
All right, so here's the thing, Joe. Thank you.
On the plus side, on the positive side, for everybody who was watching, I know it was a shit show and this whole thing, but the ratings on this go crazy though. So, we had on our last live, while we were live, we cleared 1,100 viewers. We have now cleared, I think we've cleared 1,700 viewers. I've paid for no advertising.
Oh my God.
That hasn't even gone out through our email yet. When it goes out through our email, we'll easily clear 5,000 viewers. Amazing. So if you're looking for that reach, this is here.
So here's the thing before we get started. Is there a way for, now that I'm on this, I don't have any share buttons. When I was on my laptop, I had the share and I invited Rachel and Dixie and Darla and everybody, but now I'm not getting the share. Hi, Marina. How do I share it?
Yeah, before you go live, you have the option to add a title. You can invite all your friends in. It gives them the heads up.
I don't have the option now as the guest invited in.
Yeah, but we've got 12 viewers on right now, and they can all hit share. Hit share.
That's it. It all hit share.
And then, but you know what? That does better anyhow, because just from a social network standpoint, I can invite my 3,000 people in. But you just went on live with me. So what that did was that told your network. It already did it. Facebook told your network that you're live. Okay. So now, I don't know how many people you have on your network, but my 3,000 just got added to your 3,000.
I have 2,000. Yeah.
Okay, so we got 5,000 people, and we only have 14 people watching. What the hell, people? Hit share.
Come on. All that I went through. Come on.
We're asking for pity shares, people. Pity shares.
That's it. Don't just heart us, share us.
Yeah. No, I went on that. Did you see that live I did on that one? People hit the heart button. They're like, oh, I like this. Oh, thanks. That is nothing. That share button, I know I dropped some F-bombs and some S-bombs, and I just have a bunch of bombs that I drop. But, and so I've heard from a few people that are like, oh, I'd hit share, but, I'm like, don't adult today. Just do your shit.
They're trying to get some work done.
I don't know, though, because I've heard people afterwards or even during the messaging, they're like, oh, I'm driving anyhow, or I've got a client in the background.
So
Oh man.
no.
Here's the thing, Joe. If we're gonna rip this content for
Yeah.
if we rip this audio for my podcast, it's already like.
It's all, yeah, but except for Dixie's on right now, and what I learned about Dixie is that she's really good at editing my bleeps. So we'll just send this over to Dixie. Dixie, there you go. That's what you get for watching. David was asking what's the topic of the day, and I think that so far the topic's been shit show. But,
That's right. I'm trying to change that right now. I'm trying to come into my show back right now.
Yeah, let's get back to LuAnn's show because Joe's a hijacker.
That's it.
And I think you only have like 8 minutes, so I got a speed round.
No, we don't. We have what time is it? I have it's 12 o'clock. I have a hard stop at 12:30. 12:30,
okay.
12:40. Okay, so I have a half hour, 40 minutes. And the thing is, this has been fun, and but this is about telling everybody about design.
LuAnn, Dixie's commenting that you're gonna pay her for this one, right? I think that she was messaging you on this one for the editing.
Okay, I haven't.
That's good. Let's go back to your plan.
Barbara, how are you, sweetie? All righty. So here's the thing. Welcome to Joe Haecker's version of a well-designed business podcast. Okay. I introduce my guests like I usually do. So I'm going to say, hey, everybody, welcome to Power Talk Friday on a well-designed business. And I know everybody listening, it's Thursday, but this is supposed to be recorded for Power Talk Friday. So
it's Friday somewhere.
Tell my guest, Joe, I'm going to welcome everybody to the show. Then I'm going to say hello to you. Then you say hello back to me. And then I'm going to start the show. So we're going to start over again. That's the prep. And then I always say to everybody, don't worry. The show can be edited. So don't worry. I'm not so sure about this show.
I'm not so sure about that.
That's it. And then I also tell everybody, and Joe, I'll say goodbye to you on air, but don't hang up the line because then I'll take a moment to thank you off air for being on my show. So most of that.
I'll be sure not to get up with my pants off. So I will make sure I don't do that while the camera's still rolling.
Oh, God. All right. So here we go. You remember how it goes? I welcome the show. I say hello to you. You say hello to me. And then I start the show, right?
I got it. I got this one. It's a lot of responsibility.
It is. Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Power Talk Friday on a well-designed business. I am so excited to have Joe Haecker, the CEO of Dezignwall, with me today. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hi, LuAnn. Doing pretty good.
Hi, Joe. Listen, we're going to talk all about your company, Dezignwall. But first, I want to tell everybody about you, Joe. Even though we're on your channel, I'm going to tell everybody about you. I have my cheat sheet right here. And I'm just going to read your bio, Joe, okay? So listen to me.
I sent a long one.
In podcast land that have no idea why this hysteria is going on and why we're carrying on like this. There is a serious point to all of this. Joe Haecker is the CEO and the founder of Dezignwall, the fastest growing network for design and architecture professionals worldwide. Dezignwall is the first social platform to address the specific needs of the international design community. He blends features found on top social media platforms along with the ability to produce products. Dezignwall's goal is to unite the international design and products community in order to help the industry compete in a changing and growing global marketplace. Joe has a background in custom lighting for hotel, casino, high-end residential, daylight, tubular, skylight industries. In more than 17 years, Joe has been responsible for setting trends, developing innovations, coordinating world-class projects internationally, and driving people crazy on Facebook Live. Joe has served as head of design for Triton Chandelier. We don't adult every day when we're with Joe. He served as head of design for Triton Chandelier, Alger Lighting, and Solutube International. He has consulted for dozens of custom lighting companies, including iWork, Spectrum, Freeform, Light Art, Schonbeck, and many others. With a passion for success and insanity for the industry and a focus on technology and innovation, Joe serves as a passionate industry advocate. I can tell you that much is true. He
I think
fosters.
I got to cut that thing down.
You
That's
got to cut it
crazy.
down. Well,
Dang it.
I like it, Joe.
There goes
because
our time.
here, and now everybody knows that you got some real street cred.
Uh,
When you're not working on Dezignwall, Joe is a single dad of 2 sons, 18 and 19 years old. You look like you're about 25, so good on you, Joe.
this is about the time where this sounds like a dating profile. Single, swipe right.
We're done that stuff. That's good. But you know, Joe, I'm ripping this audio. We have to have some content here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, Joe, listen to me. A lot of the people on this platform right now, Facebook Live, are familiar with Dezignwall. But we are talking to a greater audience of people who may or may not know about Dezignwall. So give me the elevator pitch on Dezignwall, what it is, and why, as an interior designer, I should care about it.
Yeah, so and this is so relevant. Just the other day, and I love the people over at Editor at Large. I even love the writer that wrote this last article. But they were talking about Instagram and how Instagram is going to be releasing. They've been testing in the fashion industry a buy now feature, and so they're going to start rolling this out. And for our industry, I don't know that people would have got from that article the impact that that's going to have. This means direct to consumer. There are billions of people on Instagram, and we're all on there. We're in the design community. We're on Instagram promoting our businesses, and we're pinning products. What that's done is that's created this giant flow of direct to consumer purchasing. So for those designers that are already on house and going like, well, I'm at customers' homes, and they're standing there with their phone saying, well, I can find all this on my phone. Why do I need you? Instagram is going to become that same spot in the next few months. So I invite you guys to take a look at that Editor at Large article. It is not for us. It is for direct to consumers. Manufacturer going directly to consumer. So Dezignwall was I found House years ago. I met Adi and Ellen Tatarko of House. We talk. They are my advisors. That was very much a residential homeowners website, and I thought, you know what, for the design professionals, we need something for us. And so my aha moment was that people could upload photos, manufacturers could upload photos to Instagram faster than their own website. And
Right.
That designers are on Facebook, we're on Pinterest, we're on all these different platforms. We've got LinkedIn, this professional network. And so my aha moment was, you know what, I believe the future of design collaboration is social. But it's not on all these other platforms. We needed something built for us that had the ability to pin to projects, not share with the client. This is our space to work. The ability to find products, not just the paid products, not just the stuff that you're going to find at market, but the stuff that you're going to find at antique shows, art exhibits, that local manufacturer who doesn't even know where to put his stuff because, you know, he makes a one-off, and where's he going to show everybody his one-off stuff? So it is a social platform for the design industry. It's essentially a virtual trade show, where every manufacturer and supplier can all be for free. They don't pay a dime. They can upload all of their products, and designers can source all of that in one spot.
Okay, so let me clarify. So the thing is that your vision for this is that it always stay closed to the design community, that the consumer is not there, because what you're saying is your objection is that the consumer is at Instagram, and while as a designer we might be excited that we might be attracting a few clients through Instagram, your contention is that for the most part that's not the biggest driver of your clients, of earning clients, and that looking to the future and you're seeing how, for instance, an interior designer is on Instagram because they're trying to share their work, attract their ideal client, hopefully to convert that client, that looker, into a consult for them. And what you're saying though is that on Instagram, that consumer has the same access to, you know, whatever manufacturer. Let's just use restoration hardware, for example. And you're saying that eventually so many manufacturers will be there that the consumer won't need the designer from there. And so you're trying to create a place where the designer can be with the manufacturers that are trade only, and they can build and pin and create projects and collaborate, but not have the consumer getting in between them and the manufacturer.
Yeah. So on can any customer go to any website? Sure. They're going to have to go discover them. That's going to be a pain. So one of the things that designers do is, we've got the contractors, we've got the relationships with the manufacturers. So when we start building, when we start working on a project, we've got those relationships. We're not building them for the first time. Essentially, we consolidate that information. As a designer, I've got that knowledge base. With Instagram and now being able to, all of it's there. All those manufacturers can be there for free. So they're all there anyhow. And so is the consumer. We brought them there. As designers, we were using Instagram to grow our following. So now you've got end consumer and manufacturer in one spot. And you've got all the manufacturers. They're all in one spot. Instagram is offering a buy now feature.
Right.
So it's not to the trades, it's not to hospitality, there's no trade discounts. This is a buy now feature, direct to consumer. Instagram just became an interior designer. Instagram is the consolidation of all that information with the buyer and seller in one spot. So where's the interior designer? They're not on Instagram. Post your projects, sure. But as far as Instagram goes, just like you don't want your customers on Pinterest and finding your products on Pinterest, Instagram's going to become like that too. They just started to compete with well, and the big casualties on this one, I'm curious to see what happens with Wayfair. I'm curious to see what happens with the Mine, because Instagram, a behemoth, just went into direct competition with Wayfair. That's crazy.
Wait, say that again? Repeat that again? Who just did what?
Instagram, by offering the ability to buy now through all those manufacturers, just competed with Wayfair.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see what Wayfair does. They were direct consumer. Only recently did they start doing the to the trades. That was only in December of 2015.
Right.
So this is interesting. It's an interesting time.
So tell me how, what is the vision for Dezignwall? What I'm not clear on, do you want the consumer on Dezignwall, but you're going to protect the designer somehow better? Okay, so you don't want the consumer on Dezignwall. Is that what you?
We're like LinkedIn. It's a professional network. It's for designers to be able to. It's like being at High Point Market or Vegas Market. Are there a few consumers in there? Sure, but for the most part, it's us.
Okay, and so that the is that the hook for the designer, that it's like everything that the access that you would have at High Point Market, but you don't have to travel to High Point Market to get it?
Well, we're actually working on a feature to drive people to High Point Market. So sure, you'd be able to find the stuff that can be displayed at High Point, and they do have the antiques building, and they do have, that stuff. And you could travel around and maybe meet some local artists as well. But Dezignwall would be all the stuff you'd find at Market. Sorry about that. All the stuff you'd find at Market, all the stuff that you'd find at an antique show from wherever, from Africa, from China.
Right. I'm trying to, and I want to make sure I didn't insinuate that. You're not trying to replace a visit to High Point Market. What you're saying is that's the concept that we're talking about, but you could have an international, when you go to High Point, you're not seeing the stuff from another country necessarily. Okay, so on your platform, you're going to have, first of all, I'm completely distracted because I feel like my screen is so dark and I'm like trying to figure, because of course I didn't set up for this. So
I don't know who did that to you. I don't know. And while LuAnn's resetting up, hit share. We've got 16 people on right now. Hit share. I did jack up LuAnn's podcast, and we dragged her over here to live. We had her fumbling around to get all set up. So
all right.
Show some love, hit share.
Okay, all right. So
also, while you guys are here, add your website into the comments and get some visibility out of this. It's gonna go. This will end up in front of thousands of people. Throw your website in there.
Okay, all right. I might have adjusted enough to have some light on my face now. Okay. Okay, so let me just recap. You are not at all interested. You're not trying to replace designers going to High Point Market, because we know there's a lot of value to going to market in addition to seeing product, the camaraderie, the interaction that happens, the learning, the panel discussions, and just the sitting at the lobby bar for 6 hours and picking each other's brains, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me what else, if I'm an interior designer and I'm listening, and what I feel like I just learned now is, okay, if I want a place to source product, possibly, I know I've heard you say it before on other podcasts that I've listened to and other lives that I've listened to you. It's a place too for that artisan that is a one-off type artisan, makes one-of-a-kind things. They could put that up on your site, and an interior designer in Iowa would never have known about that artisan and their product, and it might be perfect for their project. So that's a way to connect those, right? What else am I, if I'm an interior designer, in addition to being a marketplace for sourcing for my projects? What else are you giving designers, and you hoping for designers to get out of it by being part of it?
Yeah. So when you go to any market, when you go to any of the design weeks and what have you, you're not going on with earmuffs on and blinders, just looking at a product from one angle. You're looking at it from multiple angles. You're inspecting it to see. You're talking to a rep, and you want to know the story about it. So, what's this made out of? Who is the designer that designed it? Oh, this is a Roger Thomas chair, and you're at Thomas Lavin. Awesome. So now you've got this story. And so on Dezignwall, we have the image. You can also attach up to 11 other views of that product. You can also attach a story where you can put a profile page. You could do an editorial. You can add non-searchable images, so you can show kind of like the work in progress, how that chair was made. You can attach a video, and so you can literally show a person info about that chair. So that stories is meant for manufacturers to be able to quickly convey the story of that product. For a designer, if you upload your project, then it's for you to be able to share your story of how that project came to be, who the client was it a family, was it a veteran? Here's a story about some of the design things that you solved. Here's some behind the scenes photos and a video, so that you can easily convey how you completed a design challenge with that customer. So it's storytelling.
And okay, and so if it's a place for designers and not consumers, why would a designer take the time? I can understand why a designer would come to the site to source product, and I can understand why a designer would love to know the backstory on the way an artisan came up with designing, whatever they designed. But what's in it for the designer to upload their projects and share their information there? The only angle I can think of is, if I'm a designer in Manhattan and I have a referral for a designer in Chicago and I'm never going to do it, I might know that somebody has the same aesthetic and I've learned about them from Dezignwall. But I also think, if I'm a designer, how much time am I spending looking at other people's projects in this environment? So what's the hook there, Joe? Why that level of engagement?
Yeah, so social media, it's kind of like, it assumes we just live on our phone, right? I know Jeff Weiner from LinkedIn. And LinkedIn was a resume site, and when I showed up to a job interview, I I couldn't share my resume. Then it became a business networking site. So when I was out at a place networking with people, I couldn't share my LinkedIn profile. I had to look you up if we weren't connected. So on Dezignwall, when a manufacturer uploads, again, we were looking at Instagram going, well, they could upload really fast to Instagram. So Dezignwall, you can upload in under 2 minutes, tag that chair with multiple categories. So office, residential, hospitality, banquet hall. So now I've just exposed that chair to all these different markets. When you upload those photos, you can organize them into catalogs. So what we are is we're a sales efficiency tool. At the end of the meeting, so I'm a sales rep of chairs, and I go meet with the designer. Right now I'm showing up with a catalog and a business card. We are now a digital catalog, so I can show you my catalog. At the end of the meeting, we added a little business card icon. So at the top of the screen, I can hit my little business card icon and send you my digital card with all my contact info, and then a link back into my catalog. So now, as a sales rep, I can see that you clicked on what would have been that image on page 27 of my catalog. You've clicked on it like 6 times. You've had comments about it. And so now I know to pick up the phone and call you. On the designer side, you create your profile. You can upload your portfolio. You can consider it a portfolio. You can tell the story about it. And when you meet that client, maybe you meet with the husband or you meet with the wife. Well, they're going to have to go talk to somebody else. They're going to talk to their husband or wife. They're going to talk to a best friend, their mom, their mother-in-law, their coworker, somebody. They're going to run your pitch, your what they found in you by somebody else. Right. So as an interior designer, how are you doing that right now? You're probably giving them a business card. You're probably not even giving them any kind of other marketing stuff. You're maybe directing them to their website. So they got to remember all that. Hopefully your card was clear. How do they share that when they're out for brunch with the mother-in-law on Saturday? So now you've created these portfolios. You've added stories about how you solved problems in your design. And then you meet that husband or wife or person. You send them a digital card. Now they've got an invite in. They can share that with their whole network of people. They can share it with their best friend, their mother-in-law, whoever. And then you can go to that same reports and you can see what they're looking at. Maybe when you were talking to them, they said, well, I want to do traditional. But what you're actually seeing them click on is the contemporary. And you're like, okay, so now you know more about your client. They came to me with traditional, but they're really loving my contemporary stuff. And they're spending a lot of time over here, and they're sharing that with other people. When you go meet with them, you can say, hey, so, I know we had originally talked about traditional, but let me introduce you to some of these other products. Now you're just wowing the socks off of them. Right. And you've got the insight, and they were able to share it and validate why they should pick you.
Okay, so then tell me the technical of that. Since this is not a site that's being marketed to consumers, but what you're telling me is that if I'm an interior designer, I'm on a project and all the decision makers aren't there, or they are there, I just want to share some, we started all talking about how this master bedroom could look, and I happen to have a project uploaded on Dezignwall that speaks to the same thing that we're talking about. I share with them login information, share with them a way that they can log into Dezignwall.
Send them a card.
I send them a card. I send them the card from Dezignwall. I send them my digital business card from Dezignwall. And then what happens, Joe? They have, they don't have access to 5 of the sections of Dezignwall, that the designer has. Is there a consumer-facing site that's blocked, that they're blocked only to that one section?
So no, but
let me ask you a question. Okay, so here's the other thing. So when I'm on Dezignwall as a designer, I have access to all the manufacturers, and I can look at the tear sheets, the stories, the pictures, the 16 views of the thing, and pricing, right?
No. So the difference between me as a designer and my mom as a consumer is when I'm looking for a request for quote. I'm iterating first. I'm going to pull a bunch of stuff. I'm going to put it together, and I'm going to weed out most of it. But I want to collect a bunch of things, And then as a designer, I don't hold the credit card. I'm not going to buy now. I'm going to collect everything. I'm going to run it by my client. I'm going to get approval on it. They're going to come back with some, back and forth. We'll get it approved. And then they're the ones that are going to either pay to get it done, or they're going to pay you. And then, so as a designer, you're not buying now. My mom, the consumer, buys now. You send out requests for quotes. So we don't do buy now. We are only requests for quote.
Okay. And so as a designer on the site, I see a sofa I love. When I do request for a quote, am I going now off Dezignwall into that company's site and I'm now dealing directly with that company, or is it happening through Dezignwall?
Nope. It's just like being at a trade show. You got all these vendors in one spot. You're the designer. You're looking around. You want to talk with this vendor? Go right up and talk to them.
Okay. So that request
we are not
happens off of Dezignwall. You've just connected us, but we do our business off of Dezignwall.
Totally you. If you're a hotel buyer, they're going to have a different price for you. Are you a wholesaler? They're going to have a different price for you. Are you to the trades? They're going to have a different price for you. Are you my mom? Did my mom slip in there and try to request a quote? My mom was suddenly super patient. Then she's going to get there. They're going to find out that she's a homeowner. They can look at her profile on Dezignwall and go, oh, well, you're not working on any projects. We're going to put you over to customer service.
Okay. And so when I, as an interior designer, give a client of mine my digital business card for Dezignwall and they go into Dezignwall, at that point, do they have just access to my boards and my portfolio, or they can see every designer that has a board up there?
So first, they don't get to see your boards. Your boards are private.
Okay.
They get to see your portfolios, and they get to see your about section, and they'll get to see your contact info. And can they go look for other stuff? Yes, but we don't have a filter by designer, so they can't go shopping other designers. There's no searching for a designer on Dezignwall. This is a professional network. It's for you to communicate with your customer, for you to source, and any of the product sourcing that the designer would do is kind of too much work for them. We're not the buy now.
Okay, so, and Joe, I'm not necessarily insinuating that it wouldn't work if they could. I mean, like the design network functions that way. You can, as far as I understand, if Rachel's still listening, she can confirm it. But my understanding is that you can direct a consumer to the design network, to your portfolio, but they really can see everybody else's portfolio there. So I'm not necessarily saying that look, every designer that stands in their space, that has a great relationship with a client, that really knows that their connection is there, you're not worried about it, like that they're going to go with another designer. And by the way, my personal opinion is if you have a relationship with a client and they learn of another designer, whether it be through Design Network or house.com or Dezignwall, then the fact is that they weren't your ideal client anyway. So let them go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like a boyfriend doesn't want you. They have
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that should happen more often than not. I think that designers should really, with all this competitive stuff going on, Instagram and all this, and that's kind of, as an industry, really kind of getting squeezed out of the bottom. We're not getting squeezed out of the top. If you're Barclay Butera, he's got nothing to fear. If you're fighting for the bottom and you're hearing your customers say all the time that, well, I can find this on my phone, probably not your customer anyhow. Get your money, get out.
right.
I
just was asking the point of understanding how it works. So if I give my digital card to somebody and they come onto the Dezignwall platform, I think I heard you say it's not that they can't find another designer's portfolio, but it doesn't automatically open it up and say pick a designer. It just brings them to your portfolio, right?
Yeah, there's no filter like on Design Network. There's I'm a designer on the Design Network, and then you're put into a room full of all these other designers. So there's no room full of other designers.
Right.
You would have to it's like on Instagram. There's no room full of designers. There's not a little tab up top that says, let me find designers. So
But you
there's
can
not,
search. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
And like,
if you knew Rod Gantos's name, you might be able to type in RAAD and then go find his portfolio. Yeah.
Right.
But you'd have to know Rod's name.
Okay. And you know what? Your point is well made. On, you know, we're all on Instagram and everybody else is too. It's not like, oh my God, I'm the only one there. And again,
Yeah.
I firmly believe that you are right for a particular client. And if it's like, I use the example of dating. It's like, you know, when you're 17 years old and you're dating, your boyfriend isn't locked down and he can't like not go to high school tomorrow. It's like,
Yeah.
you got to trust that, you know, you're right for each other or you're not. And when you get married, big high stakes, your husband and your wife go out to work every day, right? If you're your people, you're your people.
Yeah. No, and my motivation in all this was 2008. We had the recession. I come from product design, and I saw my friends that owned lighting companies. I saw my friends that sold for these lighting companies. They were used to knocking on the same doors.
Right.
And in 2008, when Americans quit traveling and hotels quit buying, those doors weren't opening up anymore.
Right.
And so I saw a lot of people lose their job. At the same time, I saw Instagram. And I saw other platforms where you could hashtag. So I could have taken that chair and hashtagged it into other searches. But there was no real like a spot to consolidate that. So on Dezignwall, I can upload that chair, I can hashtag it, or let's say for lighting, I could hashtag my custom light fixture, spa, entertainment, movie theaters, banquet hall, hotel, nightclub. And now instead of me knocking on doors, when a designer is looking for nightclub stuff, type in nightclub. You get a bunch of light fixtures, flooring, all kinds of different things that were nightclub tagged. And now I'm discovered. So now instead of the sales rep knocking on the door, they're answering a phone.
Right.
Had this been around in 2008, maybe we wouldn't have seen so many people lose their businesses. Maybe they could have discovered other territories, other industries. And so my passion for this is, and with all the stuff, we've got, I want to see your podcast on Dezignwall. You know that we're the only social platform that hosts podcasts.
Joe,
we have industry articles.
You know me with technology. I literally took the time about 2 weeks ago. I'm like, okay, Joe's going to be on the podcast. He's been asking me for 3 months to put my show on the platform.
I'm just going to show up at your home. I'm going to hide behind those plants, and I'm going to be all, LuAnn,
No, Joe, I don't
podcast.
want to come to my computer and do it for me. I'm such a numbnuts. I like try to do it. I was like,
Well, Nick May's posting, and he's now got a person that's going to be posting regularly. Mark's on there. We were working on an issue with uploading Rachel's stuff,
no, I know.
But
I got to do it. Yeah. I want to address one of April here is saying that, that people are sort of conditioned to not have loyalty because of the competitive nature of online. And I just want to say, April, you're 100% right. That certainly does exist. But Joe's point is well made. You would probably not hesitate to direct your potential client or in-house client that you already have a contract with to your Instagram page or to your Pinterest page or to your house.com page in order to see more of your aesthetic and to see more of your portfolio. And I think what Joe is saying is it's that same thing. If somebody were to go to your Instagram page, if they're inclined, if they're not 100% sold on you and they're still in that shopping mode, or even if they've signed a contract and they're one of those, people that doesn't honor contracts, they can find other designers. So just by sending them to Dezignwall, if you're going to lose your client, you're going to lose your client. I mean, that's all I can tell you. So I think that, it's a bigger issue if you are coming into contact with clients and not closing them, or you are having an experience where more than one client is engaging in a contract with you and then not honoring the contract and going outside of that. And that's just a different business discussion, and there's solutions and techniques and strategies for counteracting that. But I don't think that...
And let's say let's say I'm April and I meet a client and I'm like, oh, here, follow me on Instagram. So could that person find other people? I don't think that's the issue.
Right.
The bigger issue is April doesn't get to see what her client is looking at.
See, this is
so
what
unless her client hits like,
right.
Yeah, she's not going to see that her client likes that it was looking at certain things.
Right.
She's not going to. And when she looks at her analytics, Instagram was made for my kids to be popular. So this is why it's a branding website. It's going to tell you in the analytics that you reached 3,000 people. I can give two shits about that. Sorry, you're going to have to edit that one. I don't care if 3,000 people are looking at my thing. I want to know, did LuAnn look at this one picture?
Right.
Did you look at that one? Or did you look at this one? I want to know that LuAnn did that, and I want to be able to follow up with LuAnn. Not just, I'm popular. No, I'm so popular. It doesn't matter. I want a sale. I want to know more information about my client. So that's why Dezignwall at its core, again, for the manufacturer and for, if you're in business, you're a salesperson. And you want to know how to get that person down the pipeline. Discovered them, shook their hand. Did you give them a thing to be able to validate and refer you?
Right.
Did you get them further down the pipeline? Are they clicking on your stuff?
Right.
Are you now re-engaging them to say, hey, so I'd like to send you over some things? Based off of what they're looking at, you could send them over images of things that you already know that they like.
Yeah,
so this drives them down the pipeline.
Yeah, I don't know if April was on for that part of the discussion, and I'll just recap that in case she wasn't. I mean, that is an interesting tool, because what Joe had said earlier, in case anybody who's just joined us now, hi Sandra, hi Anna, is that when you do share your digital business card with a client for Dezignwall and they come to your portfolio on Dezignwall, they can go out onto this Dezignwall marketplace and like different images from various different manufacturers and so forth. And what Joe is saying is part of what he's offered and he's built into the Dezignwall features are that you have access to those analytics. And so the example that he made was, you have this whole discovery call with a client and they're talking about the traditional, but meanwhile you go and you look on, and after the last week and a half, they've liked and commented or whatever the features are on, all mid-century. And so what Joe's saying is now you can be like, the Wizard of Oz, and, your next contact with this client, you don't even have to say to them, like, I saw you liked all this stuff. You can say, I've been really thinking about your project, and, I know you said traditional, but what about this direction? And then all of a sudden they feel like, you're reading their mind.
You know them. Yeah, you know them. You're speaking to their heart.
That's a pretty good feature, Joe, because, like you said, you're not able to do that on house.com or any of these other sites. And so
worse, you were asking about that competition on House and on other platforms. So on House, they'll do other people like this or other. I'm sorry, but if you're in my store, I'm not sending you to somebody else's store. You're in my store. You want to leave my store, you want to walk out the door, and you want to go shopping some more? Oh, you might not have been my client yet, so cool. But while you're in my store, I ain't sending it elsewhere. Right. Believe me and my development team, we've gone back and forth on this, and they're like, Joe, but this would help us. And I was like, I don't know if you don't understand this about me. I'm doing this for you guys. This is you. You can't pay for anything on Dezignwall. I'm staying at my brother's house because I'm not making money off of this. I think eventually it will, but right now, and I'm not going to charge for any of these features.
By telling me you don't have a plan for monetization down the line.
No, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do. And I'll share that with you when we get some of those contracts locked in. Yeah.
No, I like it. I like it. Look, nobody would sit here and say, look, thousands of designers are on house.com. Any consumer, like you said, it feeds them. It's just like podcasts. You put interior design podcasts in, my podcast comes up and it says other ones like this. Oh, great. There's everybody. But of course I'm thrilled because I think the more the merrier for my personal.
Well,
look,
so
it's a different business model than interior design.
So that podcast, I'll go back to that one. So what we're looking to do with that one is, so you go to a trade show, you don't just look for product. You're also looking to understand the story behind the product so that you can be informed and empowered to be the expert for your client. We also do, once a manufacturer or once a designer has uploaded more than 50 images, we send out a questionnaire and we do an article on you, a feature member article about you. And we ask you what makes you different. Tell us something that people wouldn't know about you. Do you, and your company? Do you guys volunteer? Do you guys, tell us about you. So now that designer is now empowered to now know more about those manufacturers. For you, for a designer, you can share that article with your client too, and they can learn more about you. Do I align value-wise? Sure, you can design rooms. That's cool. And you must have the sources for all this. That's awesome. But who are you? Why? I'm going to spend some time with LuAnn. We're going to be working on this project together. You're going to be building my dream home. Do we jive?
Right.
And so it's about telling your story. Our theme is tell your design story. Mm. The other thing is when you go to a trade show, you're not just looking at product and you're not just yapping with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, you go to a trade show and you're also attending panel discussions and learning about the industry. So that podcast and those industry articles, that's the industry. That's like sitting in on a panel discussion.
Okay. I was just about to say to you why, look, I'm grateful and happy that you want the Well-Designed Business podcast on the platform, but I wasn't sure what the angle was. And so it's really just to keep bringing more resources and more conversation and more knowledge and education to the designers that are coming to the platform and interacting and looking for and is it, Joe, is it that you can, so say a designer has a project and she's got, a 10-room house that she has to source or he has to source furniture and accessories or lighting for. Is it the sort of thing where a designer can say to themselves, Nancy's like, you did it. I know. Yeah, I did it. Joe did it and I trailed along here. But is it this sort of thing where, say I'm an interior designer and I'm going to do a work jam. I know that I'm going to spend 2 hours sitting at my desk and really trying to bang out a lot of sourcing for all this different stuff I need. And the podcasts are living right on your site so that they can just look at it and hit play and it plays in the background while they are sourcing their product. Or is it just like this is a podcast that is interesting and valuable to you and I recommend it?
So on everything on our platform, it's keyword search. So when you're done uploading your podcast, you'll be able to add keywords. And so with enough podcast content, we're looking to spin up Dezignwall Radio. So we'll put a little icon, and it'll be like Pandora. So a designer will be able to go in and just listen to the LuAnn Business of Design podcast.
Just
listen to your station. Well-Designed Business. Channel, or they can say, I'm working on, I want business tips on how to start my business. I want to learn about ballrooms. I'm working on a spa, and or I'm considering going into commercial. What would that be like? So now I've got this. I could throw it in the background, and I could get a mix of all these different podcasters from these different topics that are whittled down to what I'm looking for. So I can learn about the industry. I can discover new things about the industry that I didn't know. So while I was out in Dallas, I met with a kitchen and bath showroom, and they're like, yeah, we've been thinking about doing a podcast, but we don't know where we would put that. Is on SoundCloud, and then how would people find you? Well, on SoundCloud, you're going to find all this other stuff too. This is just our industry, no recipes, no fashion junk, no lipstick. This is just us so that I can learn about the industry.
No.
So eventually with your guys' content, I'm looking to spin up Dezignwall Radio so that podcaster who's got something valid to tell the industry, but lives in Queens, Australia, and nobody's ever heard of them, is now able to discover that podcast. I was just talking with I'm working on a documentary with Kelly Ellis, and then the student Megan. She's the president of the student ASID Orange County, and we're looking at doing a documentary following their journey through marketing. The market movie. We're all on a journey. What's your design story? So we're working on this, talking with Megan, an interior design student. She's currently in school, and I asked her what podcast she listens to, and she said, "Oh, there's podcasts for our industry." Oh my goodness, that's bullshit. These are students who are not benefiting from people that are in the workplace who have information to share, and they didn't even know that there was a resource. So,
wow.
So this would give a resource for our design industry globally, so that we can learn about how things are being done in France, things are being done in South America, and we can discover all this in a platform meant for us, for a professional network.
Okay.
It seems small. Upload a podcast. It can be huge.
Yeah, no, and by the way, the technical of it seems small, but so here's what I want to know. I'm going to indulge myself with a question that's only matters to me now, but once I start on Dezignwall and I make this account and I put my podcast on your site, does it automatically every week, 3 times a week, because I'm out 3 times a week, upload from Libsyn, or do I have to each Monday, Wednesday, Friday come in and go, okay, like on YouTube, it goes, once I put it on Libsyn, it automatically goes to YouTube. I don't have to touch it. It happens. Well, is that the way it works, Joe, or do I have to physically bring it over each week?
Yeah, for right now, you have to physically bring it over. I gotta. It's a new feature. To share though, so we started the beta testing on Nick May's The Chase Lounge. It took me 2 minutes per podcast to upload his podcast. Okay. So, and then I spent like an hour and I uploaded like 40 of his podcasts while screwing around on Facebook, because I just like stay on Facebook all the time.
Well, and I was just going to say, and it took you 1 minute to do a Facebook Live, and it took me 10 minutes not to be able to do it. So thanks so much. 250 episodes.
Well, I can help out with that too. I can help out with it. Joe doesn't do shit.
Help on that.
But the end result is that kitchen and bath showroom that's looking to be able to reach an audience and talk about their industry. Stagers are like this whole other. They themselves feel like they're a disconnected industry. This is a spot to put podcasts and put articles and show their work and connect with other stagers. For the stager that's looking at going into interior design or commercial design, or this is a spot to learn and grow. And it's the in the evolution of kind of tech. In the 80s, we were yellow pages and white pages. In the 90s, we went onto the internet and we started creating directories. Back in the early 90s, it was directories. You could search everything under a directory. Then along came e-commerce, and like, oh, you can buy now? So it's not a directory. I can actually buy from these directories now? In our industry, that was Stacy's Total. Okay. Eventually, it became e-commerce. Stacy's Total was a directory. Okay. Steelyard came along, and now that's e-commerce, right? And you've got Wayfair, and you've got Dot and Bow, and these companies. Right. Then you had social media, and social media, you're like, oh, so I could connect, but can I buy? So that part hasn't happened till now, kind of recently. Right. But that buy is fairly disruptive. We are the next evolution. So it's called a social market network. We're part of LinkedIn. We're not all of LinkedIn. We're kind of like LinkedIn. It's a professional network. We're kind of like Facebook. I can post comments and share with each other. And we're kind of like Instagram. It's got that visual we're kind of like Pinterest. I can pin those into project boards. Wayfair has a request for quote, so we're like that too. We're all of our favorite features in one home for the design industry to discover each other, connect with each other, find out about events, learn about the industry, source product directly from the manufacturer. Dezignwall doesn't take a cut. This is just you going to a trade show and creating relationships with the people that you would do in real life. We are working on features. It's called Event Solutions, getting out to trade shows. We're looking to replace the QR code at trade shows.
Yep.
And flip the relationship. So instead of the exhibitor scanning you and then you're on my email list, we flip it. You scan me, and when you scan me, it unlocks the products in my booth onto your phone. And so now you can like that pillow. You can request a quote on this. I can't adult today sign. And those sales reps now get to know that you clicked on these things and that you were more engaged with this than the pillow. Right. So now as a sales rep standing in that showroom, because you go to market, they came to sell, you came to buy. You're having to take pictures and then take more pictures. This is now, you like that, it's now part of your history. So you can go back and you can go view your engagement history. You can pin into a project and instantly share with your team back at the office and start having a conversation about the I can't adult today. It could be a silly conversation. It could be a, hey, look what I found. This is freaking hilarious. And they can start goofing around about it. But you're now sharing. That design showroom just became an interactive environment. The plan for our e-commerce is the day after the trade show, we would then be able to send all of the showrooms an email because it's just auto-generated. We don't do anything on our end. Auto-generated, send them an email that says, hey, market's over. This is how many people came to your showroom. These are your top performing items. Here's your top performing items by category. People loved this item in hospitality, but they really liked this item in staging and interior design. So now they've got this data, and then what we're looking to do is we can offer those manufacturers an upgrade that will send each person that came in a custom email with only the things that you engaged with over the next 6 weeks. So now you had all this fun at market. You saw so much stuff. 2 weeks from now, you've forgotten all of it. Not even. You didn't even remember a percentage of it. You remember the emotional part of it, but not the thing.
That's exactly right.
So now 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, that's going to show up in your inbox, and you're going to go, oh yeah, I remember that. That was freaking hilarious. I love that, and I could.
That's ingenious because we are always overwhelmed, as enjoyable as it is, and as much as we know it's beneficial to us, it's overwhelming to be at a trade show and to really take it all in. And you have to have systems for attending trade show, but the systems are all disconnected. Okay, I take a picture and then I have to like make a note about it, and I have to a binder or whatever it is, and here you've got it all together. And then I love the part that I get back, and 2 weeks later, I get emails in my inbox of the things that I really stopped at, clicked on, and liked because maybe I forgot to take the picture of that one. How many times have we been and we've gotten back and we're sitting at the cocktail party that night, and we're like, oh my God, I forgot to get a picture of that lamp or this or that. Yeah. That's pretty clever, Joe. I like that a lot. I really like
it. Look, I have the luxury of not trying to market to a billion people like Snapchat and Pinterest and Instagram and all this. My people are me, and you. And Kelly Ellis is on my team. Jennifer Hauser from Win is on my team. Natasha Banajian is on our design group. So she's from the wholesale side of things. So I have the luxury of not having to be focused on like this giant market of people.
Right.
I get to just focus on what we need, and then I get to protect my people, the manufacturer and the salesperson that's trying to sell this. They make their money off of a sales commission, and my goal, Dezignwall is as simple as this. food on table, roof overhead. I've created a platform that the goal is those sales reps are able to put food on their tables and keep a roof over their head. The designers, this is not branding. This isn't you getting popular. This is you talking to a customer so that you can put food on your table and a roof over your head.
I love it, Joe. I love it. I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm so...
You made me way so serious on this, though. I have the hardest time talking about the product like that because...
But, Joe, you need... In other words, I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you, I have listened to you talk about this product 4 or 5 times, and there were parts of it that didn't make sense to me. And I was just like walking around going, I don't get it. And so I get it now. And if I helped 2 designers get it and 2 more designers come to it and take advantage of these things that you've created for them, then I did my job today. Okay. But
technically we did it on my feed, but thank you.
I'm just going to tell you what, my cousin Mary is watching, and so it's making it to my people too. And hi, Ellen. Hi, Liza. Yes, and see, Liza says it totally makes sense now. Like there was just pieces of it that, and because I like you, Joe, and I've met you, and I know your heart is good, I was like, all right, I got to keep trying to understand this. Otherwise, if I'm going to tell you flat out, if you didn't bring those features to it, if I didn't meet you and know that your heart was good and that there had to be something in there, I would have given up on it. I would have been like, whatever.
Then I'm just a social media hooker, huh? Darn it.
Anyway, no, but I was giving it, I knew I needed to give it my shot, my chance to ask my questions that were unanswered. Yeah. And so you convinced me today, and I'm so happy. But I have to remind you that I'm supposed to be on air on another podcast in 8 minutes.
Oh, okay. I thought you went over. I was like, oh, man, she's not watching the time?
1 o'clock on somebody else's podcast, and I'm not going to...
What? You're just on everybody else's podcast today. Yeah. You thought this was about you, and you're just on everybody else's stuff. You're the guest. Welcome, LuAnn Nigara, today on Dezign Talk. I will hijack this thing back. I so wanted to be on your podcast.
I'm glad.
I don't talk about Dezignwall enough. I'm not a salesperson, so when you talk to Joe, you're not going to get this salesy thing. And in fact, there's nothing to sell. But there's a missed opportunity that I know that I'm missing by not talking about Dezignwall more. I just I hate talking about myself.
It's coming to you. I know you by Dezignwall. It just had components that didn't make sense to me, and they make complete sense to me now. And I'm so glad that I had the chance, because I've watched you and listened to you and others, and I'm thinking, ask this question. I don't get that. So yeah. I had my...
Well, call in. Call in from now on. Now you know how, and you know that I broadcast this Tuesday. We're kind of having that conversation, so we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into building this thing. Other tech companies, manufacturers. I was using the example in the last podcast or the last live that I've sat and I've watched designers talk to manufacturers, the CEOs of manufacturing companies. And the manufacturer will go, oh, so we've got this product. And designers will go, oh, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's great. You turn around and they're like, that's total shit, I'm never going to buy that. And you're like, oh, that sucks. Why would you do that to people? So do you know how many people with me, too, I've had people and they're like, I love your platform, it's amazing, it's going to change the industry. And I go, not in my database. Right. You haven't even showed up in my database.
Right.
But thank you. I like the support and the encouragement. I'd like you to use the platform, or tell me why you're not so I can fix it.
Right. No, I agree. I think I'm so grateful. Thank you thank you for sharing your time with me, but for making it possible on your platform today. And I'm just seeing Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. I welcome you over to our podcast. You can find it on iTunes. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate that, sweetie. All righty.
You're going to have to add your comment with your links over back to the podcast because
to the podcast in the comments. Yeah. So
and I'll add it into the description too, so that I don't up and hijack your podcast.
And then I'll try and rip the audio and see if it's, it's playable. So, and I'll put it up on a Power Talk.
I think Dixie did volunteer to edit for free. I'm pretty sure if I scroll back through, that was already a guaranteed thing that Dixie will not back out on.
Yeah,
she already.
Thank you for that. But she doesn't have to, Dixie. I won't need your support. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure she did not commit to that at all.
On you. So, hi, Lenora. How you doing, babe? All righty. Look, listen to me. It's 5 minutes. I gotta go.
Oh, and you probably gotta adjust cameras and everything. You gotta readjust the set. Quiet on the set, people. Quiet on the set.
Thanks a ton, Joe. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us. If you didn't know it, this was a Well-Designed Business podcast. All right. Bye. How do I get out? I just hit X.
It's me. I got to hit the finish. You just sit there.